So hello guys and welcome back, and this time we have the qualifying match that we have been looking for. So funny thing, it was just like someone else saying that, oh, this guy won, but apparently it was just a game 2 thing. And there you go, everything's updated, we are good to go, and instead of Protoss versus Zerg, we are gonna be getting Terran versus Protoss instead. And this is the matchup that we usually get into the region, which is really something I like. I'd like to see this. TBP, always fun to see, that's for sure. And we are gonna be having NaXin Rush versus our guy Bistork. So he's been waiting. He's been waiting. That's for sure. He's been on a 4-minute custom map, just messing around with things for quite a while already. And hopefully we can get into our next game. So just a little bit of background there from NaXin Rush, aka NaXin. He basically has been one of those players all the way from 2015, if I remember correctly. He was inactive for a little bit. His last showing was the WCS 2019 Fall Qualifiers, and I think there have been a few tournaments here and there that he's been joining, especially in 2019. He was very, very active in the Blaze Series, the Alimo League, and all the like, but since then, it feels like he hasn't really been playing too much StarCraft competitively, but did show up here for the ESEL Pro Tour for the DreamHack Summer Qualifier for this year in the region. And last qualifier, he was able to take down Psyark, one of the best players in Japan, 2-1, but before falling to his previous opponent, actually, Mystery Man, aka Rilikuma, 0-2. So this time he got his revenge, and he won that at 2-1. He also won out against Psyark, again 2-1. So it seems like NaXin Kryptonite has been cured, but for Bistork, he is just waiting for his match to come and unfold, because he did have to deal with Black Mamba and his antics, as well as Tebow in 2 rounds of PvP. And well, and Terran versus Protoss, it's gonna be really interesting to see how all of the new changes will actually change things up. So it seems like we are gonna be getting ready to go for our first game. Lobby link whenever ready, please. And yeah, we got confirmation. So it's NaXin Rush versus Bistork. And interesting, his name is like Rush then NaXin. So I think we just call him NaXin for the time being. I'm just looking around to see if we have gotten all the names already set and ready for our qualifier. And yeah, it's NaXin versus Bistork coming into this one. This is the remastered, right? Nah, this is the sequel. This is the sequel, guys. Don't worry about it. And we are gonna be getting ready to go in just a bit. We are finally ready for our best of 5. We are finally ready to come into this game, and I cannot wait to see what this Terran versus Protoss matchup is gonna give us. Now, the thing about NaXin though, since he hasn't come back for a while, this is his first tournament back based on his match history. All I can say about him is maybe some of these opponents he was able to familiarize last time, but coming into a whole new world that is Bistork, it might be Bistork having the edge, especially if he can play the same kind of mind games, the same kind of shenanigans that he's been liking to do for quite a while already on his Protoss. As we saw in the last match, second game, DT forced the Phoenixes to go all the way to the northwest instead, and then it wouldn't get scouted whatsoever. It is really, really smart there. I have to commend him for really taking a two-step approach and getting things done. And when his opponent Black Mamba didn't really have anything set up for detection, he did go for the Oracle Revelations, which is good and all, 25 energy for around 10 seconds, but when you send in DTs in waves rather than, in bulk, and you're able to just micro them away, well, that is just basically it. It did some substantial damage onto the mineral lines, and then from then on, Blink Stalkers came online, sacrificing the mineral field onto the main base to allow the Stalkers to just march on and go for the Blink in against the Immortal, and that was game there. And the third game for that round of 8 matchup is able to defend against the Cannon Rush really, really well. So all I gotta say about that one is he really knows his stuff. He really knows how smart he can play, and absolute kudos to him, to say the least. But we are not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. Now, something to note is the other qualifying match between Expect as well as Sen is going on right now on other streams. I believe one of them is IS Boys Production, if you want to check that one out, for some Taiwan versus Taiwan Civil War, to see who's going to be moving on in there. But we are going to be looking to have that match across the pond, across, well, the sea, and sometimes we'll be seeing a pretty solid match here. I cannot wait. I honestly cannot wait to get into this game. I've been pretty antsy for quite a while already. It's like, get us a game, guys. And just the hecticness of that last match, it was just like, I have to get going. I have to be ready for this one. And we are almost in. Yes, BO5 qualifiers are all BO5. So I believe our players get two bands, and then they take turns picking two maps each, and then our last map is whatever is left. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully, I'm not stepping into the admin's field of view, into the admin's responsibilities, but all I gotta say is that, well, shout outs to MMY. He's been very, very attentive of a lot of things, and I don't really know much about the guy. I don't really know much about where he is, but if it's like the time is a little weird for him, he's been doing such a great job to make sure all of these things are handled in so many ways: production, casting, players, and all the like, all assisted for. And hey, there are these unsung heroes in the back end. I know for myself, because I do love like coordinating with them, making sure everything is set and ready to go. And it seems like we are gonna be getting set and ready to go in just a bit. But overall, it has been a solid match. It's been a solid time. And all I gotta say about this qualifier is, even though it's small, it still packs a pretty big punch. Bistork though, well, he's been one of the best in Hong Kong. Usually, you can put him at the top three in the round of like Go Joey in that sense, but he has been very active in the SEA scene. He's been very active in the Chinese scene, the NetEase ones, the Blazing Series one, the Grand Plaza, those opens where I was able to familiarize myself with his name, able to just surprise everyone and really be a big one there. He also participated in the Wardy TV all the way back in Christmas, all and all the likes. So that's what really just happens in these Asian tournaments. You find reasons, you find reasons to play. And for Bistark, he's had, I believe, a 7 year career coming into this one. And it is finally time, ladies and gentlemen. Enough talking, time to get into the action. Everdream LE, we map numero uno, and this will be a best of 5 coming into this one. First to 3, we'll move on to the next events and then to the next round. And well, they'll be joining the likes of 4 others already. And if they aren't able to make it today, they still have one more chance next time. They still have one more chance on Saturday. But here we are, we got our map confirmed, and Everdream LE will be our first map coming into this one. Good luck. Giving some good luck there to both Bistork and NaXin. It's finally time to get into this Protoss versus Terran, and the wait is over. We are finally getting into the game. Thank you guys for your patience. Thank you guys for tuning on into this one. And it is high time to get into the action. All we need now is for Bistork to say he is ready to go. This has been a solid match. This has been a solid bracket. And all I gotta say is I'm just really happy to see what this is all about. I'm really happy to see how well these guys have been playing so far. And something funny to note is actually, even though Bistark is honestly a Grandmaster player, it seems like he doesn't play too much on this region, maybe? Because his border is something a little different than you would expect, but it might just be a bait on the Switch. Hopefully, though, we'll see this game go underway. Big shoutouts as well to Macho on the Korean stream, bringing in that kind of language as well, and being a backup right there. Wait, NaXin just suddenly disappeared from the lobby because his mom had to call him. But yeah, we are gonna be getting into the game in a bit. I was like, looking at how we were setting up for this tournament, it was really interesting because we got the SC2 monsters. Like, oh damn, there you go, there's the logo. Yeah, it's like I was given one for this quality, so it's pretty much, it's like, hey, there's a logo now. It's really cool, and it might actually up any production value, up any kind of tournament that's going on. And all I gotta say about that one is, hey, it really is gonna be an interesting time. I hope that I'm able to cast my region soon. I hope that I'm gonna be able to check some of those things out. And well, as we are waiting on for NaXin to be ready to go, because Bistork is trying to set up something up as well. Thinking about Everdream, will we see Bistork again do all of the Stargate shenanigans every single time? He likes to set up that proxy Stargate, go for those oracles, and against Zerg, it might actually work out pretty well for him because of that Queen range nerf. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be looking to see what NaXin has for us. It's gonna be a really good debut for me to check out what NaXin will be playing on in the first place. And hey, he joined the Doyle Cup all the way back when, was also parts of a good showing in the WCS summer way back when as well. And as I said, he's been participating in some of the bigger tournaments. He was very active in 2019, might have needed to take a break for the first half of 2020, which is understandable. But yeah, he always participates on these big tournaments, but unfortunately, he hasn't been able to really get the success he's been looking for. He's been in the bout of a bunch of WCS qualifiers, and I think how do we add someone in? How do we invite to game? Invite to game. I think there you go. Okay, I got it. I had to figure words out. And it is finally back to a proper lobby. So is it finally time to get into this game? Is it finally time to get into the match? We have been waiting for quite a while. And it seems like they're doing their draft right now actually. So that's pretty interesting. They're confirming the next map already. They're looking to set things up for the long haul, and I guess we are just gonna be working with it as much as possible. But how about you guys? What can you say about this bracket so far? What can you guys say about this match so far? And what can you say about me just talking about random things here and there because well, we need to give these players the time to set up to make these games as good as can be. For NaXin, he leaves the lobby again, and yep, it's one of those games. It's one of those times where you gotta know what's going on, but hey, it's StarCraft. It's just two people anyway. You should be good to go. You should be set up in a proper setup, and all I gotta say about this one is it has been a very, very fun session. It's been more hectic than I realized, more hectic than I expected because of, unfortunately, a few communications issues here or there, but that is sometimes a language barrier, and sometimes you just don't get the whisper in time. So that's how it really is. That's kind of what happens there. But I do thank you guys for giving this one a chance, checking out my stream and all the like. What can you say? I'm really a play-by-play kind of guy. I'm not the one with the deepest knowledge into a game, and there you go. With this link. No, they gave me a straight SC2 mod file with the ESL stuff. So it was like cool. It was pretty cool to see, in all honesty. So finally, we are here. We are now. And the present has become the game. We are gonna be getting into the action. A little bit of stretching before we get started. And it's Terran versus Protoss, as we were talking about. Really gonna be interesting to see all of the potential air harassment coming into this one. I feel like for Bistork, if he does play the Oracles again, he has to be very careful if NaXin decides to go for the BIOS. I think it's going to be more of a robo play here, but now it's high time to get into the action, and let's get into the game. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are in our qualifying match. It has been a while, but we are going to be getting into the action. Introducing first, on the bottom left of Everdream LE, it is our blue Protoss from Hong Kong, Bistork. And his opponent, on the top right, coming in from a very, very hotly contested match, beating his old rivals from the previous qualifier, it's our green Terran, NaXin. NaXin Rush, this guy from Taiwan, looking to prove himself and looking to say that he is back into the scene, and he is back and looking for a slot into the next stage. This, guys, is the DreamHack SC2 Summer Qualifier for the year 2020, and we are now into our second qualifier for the region for Taiwan and Hong Kong. And all I gotta say is, this is gonna be one of the two matches that's going on right now to see who's gonna be joining our four prior to this set. It seems like we are going to have standards in order. Bistork going to be playing against Terran, so he's going to be setting up the block ramps rather than, of course, the standard ramp itself. He's going to be looking to block these jump points there from the Reapers. And overall, he's just making sure that his high ground is going to be protected. Now, in newer maps, especially into the more current years, the Reaper positions are a lot more obvious per se. Now, of course, there are still a few things that aren't highlighted when they're big walls on the sides, but usually the positions we're in, you're not going to be seeing it from. You have to expect that it's coming there. So Bistork, working on to the marks, does set up his gateway as well as his warp gate, his cybernetic score rather, for the research of warp gate later on into the north side. And of course, since we're getting Terran versus Protoss, we're getting the 2-minute, sub 2-minute expansions, as we are having a more standard kind of game. So Legacy of the Void, if, well, you haven't been alive in the StarCraft scene for years, it really has a faster pace than everything else. It really just goes to show how quick this game can be, and earlier bases are something that is more standard into this meta. It's kind of obvious, of course, for anyone who plays it, but for newer players, you'd be surprised that, oh, you're supposed to get a base by around 2 minutes. That's interesting. That's really interesting to say the least. But anyway, Refinery right now gonna be built up here by NaXin, 2 of them in fact, and he's gonna be going for that factory as well. What is gonna be the plan here? Will we get 3 expansions before the starport, or will we get more of that bio play already? The barracks here having the reactor tech into play, and apparently NaXin gonna be playing defensively instead, looking to set up that bunker. The SCV trying to get a build on. We have the Reaper trying to go for the defense. Can NaXin get the load just in time? Yes, he does. Good lift up with the supply depot as well, but this poor SCV gonna get caught out by that glaive. And in the end, the Adept able to infiltrate. Now, the Bistork, this might be a one-way trip for this unit, trying to go for the CR transfer again, but caught in a rock and hard place. Not gonna happen. NaXin with a pretty good defense there against that lone Adept. Not gonna lie, that was really interestingly done by NaXin, but in the meantime, he's got enough scouting information ready to see what's going on. Wants to bring this Reaper again to the south side to make sure that he can get even more knowledge later on. And of course, in StarCraft, knowledge is powered. Here we go with the 1-1-1 setup though, and nowadays, you know, the 1-1-1 a little more standard again. There was a brief period in the history of StarCraft wherein 1-1-1 apparently isn't the way to go. Recently, right? But now with the more air approach from some of these, well, Terrans, and sometimes you want to unlock things from the armory, like the free invisibility from the Widow Mines, it really just kind of makes a difference to set up that 1-on-1 in the first place. Air harassment, and in a situation like this, of course, when you get that tech lab on, might be that Banshee Cloak to get the harassment. Later on, you can go for the double pump medivacs, but it seems like for NaXin, he has the tech labs already set up onto the factory as well. Plays it defensively, plays it classic with the Marine siege tank composition. And on the other side, as we hear the rock music, that is the Terran soundtrack. Well, we are going to be getting into even more of the action. Pylon set up into the front line. There we go with a War Person though, loaded in with 4 of these Stalkers. It's going to be a good surgical strike, so it seems like NaXin going to be looking to take the degree of going for the Viking rather than anything else with harassment. Wants to go for the anti-air, maybe get rid of the War Person as well. The Marines right though, in the meantime though, coming and surrounding that barracks. Overall though, NaXin can't really get much done, but he does go for that Reaper harassment in behind instead. 5 kills for the Reaper as Bistork was a little too busy for microwing his drop. And a scenario like this, it's Bistork looking to go even more and more on the expansions. 3 bases right now, gonna be in the plans here for our blue Protoss. In the meantime, NaXin looking to saturate up this second, and he does have better economy with the mules alongside that even worker count. In a scenario like this though, it feels like it's a very macro-focused affair for NaXin. He wants to make sure that he is ready to go before he goes for the attack. He's even going to be whipping out that Raven, and what is going to be the plan here, and I've seen these Raven compositions for quite a while already. It has so much good utility, especially with the anti-armor, interference matrix, and, you know, auto-turrets for the harassment later on. But in the meantime, Bistork is taking control of the west side of this main base. And here we go again. So it's going to be the bio approach here for NaXin with some Ravens to help out for some detection there, and then on the other side of all of this though, sentries, oh, it's Adepts as well into the play. Robo facility gonna be in the cards. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bistork go for the Robo Bay this time against more and more of these units coming on in. But finally see get that transition. So 6 minutes in, what are the upgrades? Nothing here from NaXin, which is really interesting because you want to go for that 1-1 with the stim pack and maybe that combat shield push on that timing. But in an instance like this, he went for the Raven first, he went for a different number of Starport units. It's gonna be a little later than usual, but hey, Rax is now into play, Stimpack gonna get research on over. Do we have an Engineer Bay? No, we don't! Oh, there we go, never mind, my bad there. So we see 2 of them down on the low ground, double pumping that one out. So in an instance like this, I wouldn't be surprised to see him just shut down this drop, and then move on in as soon as the 1-1 with the Stimpack is ready to go. High time though, beautiful interference matrix, almost getting the catch on. 28 HP energy for the Warp Prism to survive. The Depth still coming on over yet again, trying to make it through. Will get stopped by the supply depots one more time. And in a scenario like this, it's Bistork trying to play his main game, trying to go for the harassment, and NaXin gonna get caught out with those Marines not even bothering to shoot. So far so good though for Bistork. He's putting his opponent on his toes, and behind all of this, he has gotten a third base. Now this will put the Protoss, propelling him in the lead on the economy. But for NaXin, he needs to take a little bit of map control if he wants to get the secured third base. He does have a substantial army, so in essence, for Bistork, he has to be very careful. Good micro though. I thought the Stalkers were going to be on a one-way trip, but apparently they will survive, to say the least. And it seems like for Bistork, he's going to be taking a little bit of an adept approach against his bio. Speaking of the adepts though, into the backline yet again, trying to get in the way, trying to be a big bother, and it is going to be the Siege Tanks going for as many shots as possible. NaXin pushing on forward one more time. There we go with the Stalker drop onto the third base, and this is what I was talking about. It's really just so unsafe in this scenario. You don't have that map control. Eventually though, the Marines have come, but 6 SCVs over 2 bases. Even though, you know, Bistork does come out a little bit worse for wear there in terms of the income loss. It's just basically Bistork is happy to do all he can with the macro in behind all of this. So sometimes your units aren't really just all about the cost to build them, it's about what they force your opponent to do. And in a scenario like this, NaXin can't really go for the push. Again, you expect him to go for the push with the 1-1 setup and the Stimp app, but now he's waiting for the Marauder shells to come. NaXin though with the Scout, and this is going to be a big army courtesy of Bistork. He does have the Warp Prism for the reinforcement cycle, and Dark Guardian Shield as well. Adepts right now into the field. I believe that is going to be Glazed, but beautiful anti-armor! And you can see how Bistork is losing everything in the middle! Beautiful stuff there, that is what the Raven is all about. NaXin right now going to be going for the push. The Rain so force fielded on away, and my oh my, Bistork not respecting that Raven whatsoever, and everything getting torn apart at the seams. But the fight isn't over yet. NaXin, he only has 15 army right now. In terms of quality, Bistork might have a little bit of the edge. These Immortals trying to go for the push there, and it is going to be high time to get more DPS on. But one Immortal going to go down into the front line. There we go now with the concussive shells, getting the slow on. A reinforcement cycle here from the Adepts yet again, trying to make sure everything is going to be fine and dandy. And who will actually win things out? Benivac's going for the top up. I feel like for NaXin, he's just overstaying his welcome right now, and in this instance, it is going to be high time for Bistork to go for the push one more time. Onto the high ground push pull right here, right now. A tug of war between these two players. And everything loaded on into that lone Medivac. In the end, Bistork putting in the hurt, forcing NaXin to push on away and go back to that main base. Even though it was high losses there from Bistork, it really goes to show that if you have enough of the economy, you are able to make trades like that and still come out ahead. So now Bistork is still not in position to go for the killing blow, that's for sure. It's not going to happen anytime soon unless NaXin makes a big mistake. But he is really bothering NaXin right now as much as possible to prevent this third base from going up and up top. We already going to get that ground armor though, looking to get online. So 1-1 setup also for Bistork here. And basically he's thinking, these Marines are just so many. One way to mitigate that DPS is to add some armor, maybe to add some shields later on, but Bistork going for the bait and switch again. This is pretty much all he is about. Make his opponent look at what screen and make sure that he's doing something else on the other. 7 SCVs have gone down already. There we go with Scion transfer onto the main base. Marine's gonna get loaded and drop down into defend that income tab. But beyond all of this, it is just high losses overall. 7.975 and 2300 there for Bistork, but he's still looking pretty good because of the amount of income he's making. Now, there is a chance here for NaXin though to go for a really good punish because he has double the army right now, and for Bistork, he's going for the fourth base rather than reinforcing his lines. So just a small little chance here if NaXin goes for the counter attack, he might have a little bit of the edge taking care of one of these expansion bases, but overall, for Bistork, he's working as hard as he can to really keep up his lead per se. Want to get that +2, want to make sure everything is going to be fine and dandy here. And in the meantime, Adept's going to get caught out into the grassy fields. That's that coral bleaching, showing that global warming is real. The Marauder right now, though, slowing down that Adept. But again, this is happy from the start. He gets caught out in the open, but at the same time, he did go for the harassment. There we go, though, with the brawl. Look and see how this is going to unfold. Step back, push on in. There we have a ghost, but I don't think that EMP is going to be online anytime soon. There we go with the Shades going over to the left-hand side. Damage being done on all sides. Medivac's going for the load on it to get the hell out of there. But behind all of this, the Adept's already packing the punch. And you can really see that for Bistork, he defends and he attacks at the same time. So some huge plays here from both NaXin as well as Bistork, but all I gotta say is I still can't remember that Raven getting a huge anti-armor in the middle. Eventually though, it still is anyone's game, but for Bistork, he's on 4 bases, and all I gotta say is when you see your Protoss player be on more bases, it gets very, very scary when you get even more gateways up and running. But at least for NaXin, SimCity is set up on his bases. He has 4 of these racks, make that 5 actually. He also has that Ghost Academy to enable those snipers. And well, maybe EMPs later on into the night. But for some reason though, he doesn't have that Shockwave upgrade as we get. Really good to add in that range. And for Bistork, it seems like he's going to be sacrificing his base to get the harassment onto the third. But here and now, we get the engagement yet again. High ground right now being taken. There we go with the EMP connecting on the sentries, as well as the Stalkers going to get caught out in the open. And that is what the concussive shell is all about. Bistork right now on the ropes because he doesn't have that much army. And this is what I was talking about for NaXin. If he's able to get the punish, he might be able to get things done. Battery overcharge, trying to keep things alive, especially that Stalker. And oh, that is just going to be these infantry getting cooked up instead. But 980 SCVs have fallen on down. Here we go yet again. Colossus still surviving. In behind all of this though, you'll be Devs going for the harassment, but we'll keep an eye out on this third base instead. Here comes more and more of the action. Stalkers trying to go for the push, but this is just not going to be enough because the Marauders are really catching out the Giraffe. Bistork has no more army. Does he have enough income to really go for the reinforcement? And that's going to be GG called, even though NaXin loses out on those SCVs. It's just enough of those units for the infantry to get the push. So well played there to NaXin. He will get that first victory, and it really goes to show when you have that numbers, it doesn't matter if you're losing out on the economy. And I know Bistork knows that. He showed that on his previous match, and we are going to be getting into game number 2 in just a bit. But NaXin, well played there. Able to have just enough, and he feels like it's one of those players where he kind of wants to hang back over anything else. Really well played. And I guess for NaXin, he's coming in from a hot streak, winning out against Mystery Man earlier on, right? So for Bistork, he has just been waiting. He's just making sure that he's ready to go for the next game. And speaking of the next game, we are going to be moving on in to Pillars of Gold. Yeah, it's really just a story there on Everdream. It feels like that. Hey, please, I don't want to play. I'm so scared. I don't want to get creamed by either Bistork or NaXin anytime soon, guys. Please don't. Swap me out, lads. But yeah, back to my point. There's a little too much to lose. There was so many things that, well, our Protoss player lost in the first place. There were just so many units that he kind of threw into the wind. And it was okay for a while. In all honesty, especially during that attack where that huge anti-armor connected. Bistork was able to get the punish on NaXin, who overextended his reach, but since he didn't have enough units there to go for the punish, he was able to take the lead instead of, decide to go for a very, very crippling blow. And, well, and in the end, it's just the army count increasing on and on and on and on for NaXin. For Bistork, in the meantime, he just kind of stayed at the same number. And one Colossus versus the world isn't going to be enough. It was really interesting that, that EMP was still huge, even that the AoE upgrade, but, if NaXin can hit those shots, doesn't need it, that Raven coming in clutch, and I've seen those Raven plays before. I've seen so many different players actually whip it out, because it's just such a strong utility unit. That anti-armor makes and breaks games. It really is. I feel like it's a lot better than Seeker missiles in terms of supporting, because, that's pure damage, but it's very, very obvious to see how it goes. Anti-armor, in the meantime, it's more of a low-key, but it just adds things up, especially if you're playing that bio. But now we are going to be getting into our second map, Pillars of Gold. 1-0 lead here for NaXin. Let's move on in to the match. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are on to these Golden Towers. Introducing first, down by 1, on the bottom left, it is going to be our blue Protoss, Bistork. And then on the top right, one map ahead, showing the true might of those barracks units. Boots to the ground. So standard warfare there. It is going to be our green Terran from Taiwan, NaXin. So I'm really impressed by NaXin. Looking at his history, he hasn't been playing for a while. He probably has been low-key, like in the ladder, doing all he can, that kind of thing. And maybe screaming with a bunch of people in the Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan scene. So in all honesty, it feels like this comeback is looking to be a comeback king instead, but it might be jumping the gun here because his opponent Bistork has proven to be one of the best in the scene, and he really is such a good player to keep up his what do you say, psych up. He keeps himself up. He wants to make sure that he doesn't, you know, get feeling low after all of these games. And hey, we've seen him down by 1 before, and he's been able to win it out. We'll see though right here, right now on Pillars of Gold, what is gonna be the action. So we're also getting reports that I believe it is Expect who moved on to the qualifying to move to the next one, to move to the next main event. So I'm just trying to figure out my words there. But yeah, he won his qualifying match 3-0, I believe. So kudos to him. Already another Taiwanese representative in our region. But for now, it's gonna be NaXin going for the scout. Second base already being built by both sides. And then Pillars of Gold is a very safe expansion to go for the second. And then it's the third that you make a question, in all honesty. Now, do you go for the low ground third, or do you stay on the high ground? Usually you stay on the low ground. You want to make sure you get the one further away from your opponent by creeping onto the more x-axis. Notice, because it's a lot easier to defend. You come from the ramp, you move on into the third base, and that is the show. Going all the way here is quite far, but it does allow you to have that high ground, to have that vision, but it's pretty open on, well, a number of different sides. So usually, yeah, this is the third, this becomes the fourth. There are a few players that I've seen actually go all the way here for some reason, but in all honesty, I'm really just trying to stay as close to home. And yeah, Pillars of Gold, interesting map, has a lot of plateau gameplay. When I first saw this map, I really felt like you could put artillery on both sides, and it'll be just like World War I, trench warfare, just have a elevated high ground. But enough about that, you know, flavor text. We are going to be getting into the action instead. Let's talk about the game. We have a barracks again with the reactor, we have the factory, so it seems like for NaXin he's going to be doing more or less the same thing. Now he does have a little more gas than his previous bout. I believe he started things off with 2 gas with only 1 worker here, but now he's fully committing on the 3. That might just have been a mistake in terms of that macro, but I wouldn't be surprised to see pretty much the same build here. Second base now up and running. What is going to be Bistork up to? He wants to go for the robo facility right here, right now. And the question is, will he decide to play a little bit more into the Robo Bay? But as I say that, he is going to be looking to potentially rush down his opponent with gateway units, because he's going for that pretty quick Twilight Council. He's pretty much rushing the Blink Stalker by this point, and the timing has to be as soon as the Warp Prism is up and running, maybe Immortal to go for reinforcements. These Stalkers are going to be going for that push, and shades of the first incarnation of StarCraft 2. Blink Stalker was the bread and butter for a very, very long time for Protoss, and well, for Bistork, he's going to be setting things up with that pylon as well as the gateway to allow these cycles to be a little quicker. So it's the Observer actually here for Bistork. Now this makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of high ground, but they are separated by only small barriers. And in an instance like this, if Bistork sets up here, down below, blinks up with that Observer, he can really catch out his opponent for surprise. Now this is what I was expecting though from NaXin last game. When I saw the star report, when I saw the tech lab, I was like, oh, this has to be Banshee Club. And he's gonna be going for it this time. But unfortunately for him, if that Observer is coming his way, then who really cares if he's gonna be using that Banshee for the defense against those Stalkers? The Focus Fire is gonna be huge and really, really in charge of so many things. On the other side though, it might be good here for Bistork to put a little bit of defense in behind, maybe one Observer to make sure he has the angle, but I think by this point in time, this has to be kind of like a 2-base all-in if everything is considered. Because for Bistork, he is leaving these bases alone whatsoever. There is no defense, there is nothing to call home. He will have enough economy to go for a cycle, sure, but damage should be done pretty early. Observer though gonna get spotted. NaXin, how did he find that one out? Really, really interesting. Just able to get the shot on, will get the shutdown. Here and now, Bistork looking for the setup yet again and wants to go for the bunker. And since there are no units, it's a free shot there. Into the front line we go. Siege Stacks looking to go for the shock cannons again. And set up onto that ground by the ramp. But the Warp Prism itself does bring in its own kind of flavor, bring in its own vision. The Banshee gonna get the cloak out in time. And there we go. Sees the pylon there. It seems like for NaXin and Bistork, they are just really on point with either side. NaXin though, I love this supply depot. It's set up in a way that it can really see whatever is going on that low ground. And this push from Bistork gonna get stopped immediately. For NaXin, he should be happy about this because He can take a pretty good lead if he defends this pretty well. SC2 right now, trying to go for the shot, pulling forward to go for the push. SCV's immediately pulled to add in that DPS. And in this instance, we already see some probes going down on the other side. That's what we were talking about. There we go with the Banshee going for the shots. And for the start, he has to go for reinforcement cycle there on the main base rather than this push. And this will hurt our Stalkers. This will hurt our Protoss. But will it be enough? Beautiful micro there from Bistork, forcing the SCVs to get pulled yet again. This might be a little too late from NaXin, but never mind. It should be enough to hold the line for a little bit. Now, this is basically NaXin looking to make sure that he can get reinforcements up and about. Banshee, though, going to be running out of cloak there. 16 SCVs have gone down. And this two-base push from Bistork actually working out pretty well. All things considered, it felt like it could have been really dicey. Banshee now gonna get caught out in the open as well, and I felt like for NaXin, that Banshee cloak could have been really huge there, but unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to really get enough of surround, get enough damage against these Stalkers, and now here we go with the play forward again, but this time into the face of all these Marines, and that is a potential advantage there from NaXin. He holds the line, he has that Banshee to add in the DPS, but these SCVs are really out for blood, and they will get caught out in the desert sands instead. But yeah, big shoutouts again to, well, our non-English audience. I don't mind you guys are chatting in something else, but you know, this is an English stream, and if you guys can't do so, you can feel free to say the language there. But I understand, of course, the Asian region has so many different languages, and this time we all understand one thing: if Blink Stalkers get on the high ground and they are able to just get the damage on, they can really pack a punch. This time though, NaXin trying to box him in. SC2 there as well, already set up in a really good spot. So overall, the defense there from our Terran was okay. I felt like though that the SCVs getting pulled just was not at the right times. He really could have gotten a little more of the surround. He could have actually gotten a little more, and he didn't really micro those in the end. So from a two-base push, Bistork says, I can't finish this game yet. I can't really get the angle with all these Stalkers, and he is going to be learning from his mistakes from the previous game, because he's not full committing onto this one. It feels like these Blink Stalkers stay on the low ground. It's a warp prison with 3 of these Zealots, and behind this, third base now up and running. You don't usually see a two-base all in a way, kinda, you know, turn into a 3-base transition, but sometimes the cards are just dealt that way, and in the end, it's still NaXin kinda on the back foot after all things considered. Sneaky peek though, Bistork trying to make sure that he can get another blink forward, plays the aggression, gets rid of the siege tank there, even taking care of the bunker along the way, and that's now high time to hightail it out of there. These Banshees though still looking around, 4 kills on this one, but overall, it seems like it's a day in the office here for the Protoss to feel pretty proud of. Really good match though. It really goes to show that these two players understand exactly what to do in terms of the defense and the attack, and none of these strategies are working out as well as it would per se, because they just have a handle of things whatsoever. And you could say though that it might be poor execution, but I feel like it really is just good counterplay from both sides. Understanding when to have a warp in cycle here for Bistork, understanding when to position those Marines, those siege tanks more or less from NaXin, and there you go. Just finding ways to counter each other, and it's always better to be more positive than negative per se. Here we go though with a pretty aggressive approach, and this time NaXin gets a punish. He has Snap back up online. Does he have anything else? But you know, the extra burst, the extra speed, the extra DPS really making a difference, and we get yet again a brawl onto the ramp. So finally, a little bit of a reprieve into this game, and this time Bistork does send in the Zoo a little earlier. He does get the Robo, he does go for the Colossi, and at least this time we can say it's going to be a plural rather than a singular there. NaXin though wants to go for the punish, but Bistork has an army this time to defend. All this has to be though from Bistork. He has to make sure he's in a proper spot, and out in the open like this on the low ground might not be the best scenario. These Colossi need to be protected as much as possible, and looking at the forces right now, it's not as many, and everything is being sent in by NaXin to go for the offense. There we go though with the Strategic Recall to make sure that he can defend this, and there we go with the brawl already. Force Fields to get in the way, but this is us actually getting caught out in the open instead. Eventually though, some of the Marines get cooked up because the Colossi are safe and sound. For Bistork, he's trying to hold an angle where he's a little closer to home to that ramp. Shield batteries though into play. This is really part of the new meta right now for our Protoss players, because battery overcharge is such a good addition. And NaXin bringing in the SCVs as well. What is happening here? It's an SCV push and a half. It feels like it's an all-in here from our Green Terran instead. And everything cooked apart already. Work is going down. Bistork making sure that everything is fine and dandy. And I was really surprised to see all of that brought along. GG is called. And that is game, set, and match. Bistork ties it up 1-1. In all honesty, I did not notice those SCVs. I really thought those dots were Marines, but apparently the numbers just don't add up, and that is just gonna be the show. Was that a mistake though from NaXin? Did he really do that on purpose? Just basically go for an all-in there, but in the end, the Colossi was just enough. It doesn't matter if you have those tanks in the front line with the SCVs, it just gets cooked alongside everything else, and we are gonna be moving on now into our next game. Bistork taking care of business there on Pillars of Gold, and of course the Golden Armada, the Golden Ground Forces, the ones that are happy about that one. And we are gonna be looking to get our third map up and running. What map will it be? I feel like it's gonna be another pick here, and I think it's gonna be a familiar one to many who tuned in last Tuesday, as it's gonna be a high time to get into. That's Aura LE. So, yep, that was pretty much it. That game was really interesting. We kept seeing those stalkers blink forward, blink backward. NaXin, in the meantime, kind of stuck on 2-base for a little too long, and he felt like he was forced in a way to go for an all-in to bring on these SCVs, and he brought SCVs along. I was like, okay, it's pretty open, and he did go for the Banshees, but it was countered pretty well by Bistork on both fronts. Even though the Observer was spotted somehow, NaXin, I feel like he's that 6th sense. But in the end, Bistork just playing a better game, and I like the difference now. Compared to the first game where Bistork lost a lot, this time he reeled it back. He made sure he was safe. He made sure that he was A-okay in so many ways, especially on the defense. And this time he had the proper army. He went for the strategic recall, which has been a difference makers for many Protoss players. But here we are going to be getting into the next game. Let's move in to Deathaura LE. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and here we go yet again. It's high time to see if quicker pushes are gonna be the trigger finger here, as we are gonna be all tied up 1-1. So immediately we are gonna have a map 4. Will we go a full 5 shebang? We'll find out very soon, because introducing first on the southeast side of Deathaura LE, it is our blue Protoss, Bistork. And his opponent on the top left, he's gonna be looking to potentially play a little more to his namesake with that rush. He's been showing up pretty well, but unfortunately last time, maybe just a key difference, maybe just an unfortunate circumstance. But, he is good for it. He has made it to the qualifying match, and he is our Green Terran, NaXin. If you guys can really see what kind of style I am, I'm pretty hard play-by-play, so if you need anything to get caught into, well, the screen, then there you go. That's your man right here. I'm not big brain, but I do love StarCraft, and this time we got that barracks being built here by NaXin. Of course, refinery gonna be set up immediately, and it seems like for NaXin, he wants to go for a quicker factory than anything else. Not gonna be going for the 2 barracks aggression. It really feels very, very standard here from our Green Terran. On the other side of this, we got that assembly set already up by Bistork. Gateway is there, Cybernetics Core, and oh, okay, we're gonna be getting a different formation here for Bistork compared to the last one. So noticing from Protoss players, it really changes per map on how you're gonna be setting up your buildings. Now this time, I feel like for Bistork, he wants to set up a sort of wall with his buildings on the north side to make sure that the rotation from any kind of harassing units comes in from the west flank instead, and that means they will be going through the natural. That means they're gonna get caught out in between 2 bases, and I like this a lot better here from Bistork, setting up the cyber core in behind to make sure that it is gonna get plugged. We got the gateway there as well. The simulator is gonna be there into play, and you will have a little bit of a funnel coming into this one to harass that line. Yeah, that's just something. It really isn't just random where you put buildings. It depends on the map, it depends on your style, and it depends on what you're trying to do. But here for Terran, it's a little more straightforward. You get your 2 supply depots because they're literally doors. It's funny, from big-ass fan buildings, they have become doorways. Or in this case, like... Okay, like looking at the supply depot, there's an opening here. So why can't they just pass through, right? And then if you have a big unit, you have to put it down. Whatever, I didn't make this game, but yeah, factory gonna be built, and ooh, we are gonna have that old school mech play with the double Hellions rather than focusing on defending with bunker units. In the meantime, starport gonna be built as well. 111 is set up already. There we have that stalker, pretty much Bistork's, well, one of his favorite units, that's for sure, after that blink stalker attack there. And in a scenario like this, we got that Chrono Boost up and running. We are gonna get that Twilight Cancel again, and hey, if it worked last time, it might work this time. Might be Blink Stalker one more time. Hellion still already getting the cook off, and they can be able to really chase after the Stalker. But in terms of damage type, these Stalkers have the advantage. They are going to be chasing after that Hellion, and one of them going to go down. NaXin, you got to be a little more careful with these units, because Bistork is looking for the punish already, and that's the supply depot up. But Bistork knows this is a bait and switch, because more Hellions come online. Strategic recall to get on away just in time. No, guys, if you guys are coming with a Chinese language, it's okay with me. I really appreciate you guys checking me out. I'm just saying that I speak English, so if I don't speak the things you say. But if you wanna say anything on the chat, it'll be really cool if you guys can say something. I love hearing your thoughts, because especially that I'm more of a play guy over anything else. Seeing like a few nuances I don't notice, like especially on the numbers there. But I don't need to be a wizard in this game to notice that warp gates here will lead to more units. It's pretty obvious math right there. 3 Hellions getting the scouting information. And go ahead, this is a community broadcast, and just enjoy your time. And maybe one day when I learn the language, I can just converse with y'all. But it's highly appreciated you guys tuning on, and hopefully we get our regional dialects some coverage into the future. And thank you guys for, giving me a shot at this. But we are gonna see, again, Barracks here for NaXin, confirming he wants to stay on that bio. Even though I said earlier on he wasn't gonna go for the bunker, apparently he did. He just went for the 1-1-1 setup first, and there it is. The saving grace here for NaXin, the Raven. We saw earlier on, the anti-armor was huge, but this time for Bistork, I think he kind of got scared from seeing how huge the anti-armor was earlier on that first map. And since he's playing Stalkers as well as Blink instead, any kind of anti-armor that comes his way, what Blink says, no sir, you're not gonna get the AoE that you're looking for. Third base already being built, Bistork just a little more potent in terms of this macro. He really understands how much of the lines he can push, especially how slow NaXin is setting up. Because for NaXin, he's too busy, well, creating all these buildings, right? So in terms of army, he has a good one, but at the same time, it's really just for the defense. He is very defense-centric. He loves building these siege tanks, and you're not going to expect a push from him anytime soon, compared to Bistork, where he can do whatever the hell he wants. And oh my god, it's already dropped onto the west side! Warp Prism is there, Stalkers are into play with Blink, time to get the hell out of there, saves even that one who gets a little lost for wear. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. Bistork is happy to take all the map control in the world, and since that happens, he is gonna get a pretty safe third for the time being. Army count is pretty even. There we go with the Blink Stalker away. And Bistork, this guy, if you blink, you will literally miss it. When you see that eye just pop up, it really feels like he is just so on point with this micro so far. In the meantime though, classic opposition. Is this really gonna be Stalkers and Zealots only? I love this. I love this right now. We really see shades of old school play from both of these players. But even though the Wings of Liberty have gone and flied off, we are still gonna have the legacy of StarCraft here and now. And speaking of a legacy, it is gonna be that 1-1 set up already. +1/+1 for the infantry. We are also gonna get combat shields as well as Stimpack this time at the same time. So I wouldn't be surprised to see NaXin potentially go for a drop within the 7.5-minute mark. He has a Medivac ready to go, but Bistork is already on it. An Observer is into play, goes for that scouting, trying to make sure everything is caught out in the open. These Stalkers are just making sure that they are in an angle that is pretty safe. Stimpack is already ready to go, but still a little dangerous because that upgrade is not yet ready. Now, did NaXin cancel his other upgrade? I don't think it actually came out, so there you go. He only has that one engineering base, so my mistake there. That combat shield apparently just looking a little different there, but Bistork with a drop onto the west side. My bad there, ladies and gentlemen, but the north here is really covered, and with the Stimpack, NaXin can go for the chase. It doesn't matter if he does a concussive shell or not. That extra speed boost will force these Stalkers to run away as quick as can be. And honestly, for Deathaura, I think that Bistork can use this a little better. If NaXin goes for the Stimpack earlier, before the acceleration zone, if these Stalkers or whatever unit you need to get on through to the other side, they can just outrun those slowed units. So yeah, back to my point though. It really feels like it's some standard infantry gameplay here from NaXin, but at the same time, Bistork is unrelenting. He wants to go for the drop here on the west side yet again, looking to set things up with the Adeption one more time, going for the shots, and here we go with the Zealots being warped in at the same time. Charge Lads now into the fray, with the Mind though gets a beautiful hit, and the Warp Prism is quite low. Everything gets torn apart, sundered by those bullets. And that is going to be another solid defense here from NaXin. Very defense-centric, this guy is. That's all I gotta say. And for Bistork, we've seen him, do a lot of harassment over the games, over the matches. But in a scenario like this, it feels like he's kind of lagging behind on the army count again. 48 army to 94. This is where NaXin gets scary. And it isn't about him actually getting to the 1-1 timing. It's more about making sure that he defends every single kind of engagement. He defends against his opponent anytime, everywhere. And he's going to be breaking down the rocks rather than going through acceleration zones because he wants to get on through to the eastern side of the bases instead. I think for NaXin, he thinks that his opponent is on the high ground here after getting that third pretty early compared to him, and he will just be in for a rude awakening because nothing's there, but he's happy. I can save some bullets, I can push onto the natural instead, and the high ground already taken here by NaXin as we have that lone Colossus out in the open. There we go with the Zealots being charged on over yet again. Interference manages to get in the way, gets a second one as well, loads harass, and there we go with the mind set on up Bistork. Same scenario as that first game, losing too many things, and NaXin with a proper push. The defensive-centric nature here of NaXin really showing that this is the rush we have been looking for, and we are going to see a cycle of Zealots yet again. Will it be enough? That's going to be a real question. Charge lots right now trying to get into the field of battle, but no sir, the Marauders tanking those cleaves, tanking that one out, and NaXin takes the lead. We are going to have a 2-1 advantage for our Taiwanese Terran. What a game, but deja vu. I have been in this space before, and I literally see the first game showing up there on Deathaura. NaXin defending against his opponent. Pretty much the way to go for him there. And well played there to NaXin, really showing on up. The return of the comeback has been really solid, and you can see that this guy is feeling every game. He's calling for a little bit of break every single time. He's calling for a little bit of reprieve, and all I gotta say is I'm very impressed by NaXin and his defense. He's just so on point, making sure that he has the vision, he has the reaction in time, and these units are always positioned to get in the way of his opponent as much as possible, so that's where I really can commend him. It feels like there are opportunities that Bistork can take, but there is just that saturation point. Like I saw in the chat, it's noted it's basically these pushes aren't working anymore, these drops aren't working anymore, and I feel like for Bistork that he has to realize when that works, when it doesn't work. On Pillars of Gold, he showed a lot more knowledge when to really reel back with the Blink Stalkers, but that might have just been because NaXin kept getting in the way of that vision, and it kind of went out in his favor. But learning now from 3 games, I feel like for Bistork, it might be more macro-centric this time because I see him take the lead with that third base. I see him that he can really bring it up. And he just wants to make sure that he can anticipate and prevent the 1-1 push from happening. But in all honesty, when he was able to get a good number of Colossi earlier on, then that was a difference maker there on Pillars of Gold. But of course, the Raven making a difference this time. Yes, washroom. Yes. Bathroom is washroom, WC, CR, and all the like. So yeah, that's pretty much just my point there. I feel like for Bistork, he has a lot of chances here, and if we might be able to play into Nax's game, I think he can come out ahead. Because he's already we see NaXin liking to stay on 2 base and pushing there. He goes for the 1-1-1 with 2 base, which is a little different from what we see kind of standard on Bio, which is the 3 racks 3 base before the starport. So that's pretty much it. But we have gotten our 4th map. We have gotten confirmation, and we are going to be getting Eternal Empire for our 4th map. It's very familiar to all these players. Everyone has been playing Eternal Empire. It has been quite a while, and I really welcome all our Chinese-speaking, whatever Mandarin, Hokkien, whatever you guys say, whatever you guys talk on. I really appreciate you guys tuning on in. And hey, if you guys understand me or not, all I gotta say is I love StarCraft, you love StarCraft, and I love this match. But it's now time to get into the game. It's now time to get into Eternal Empire. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and here we go yet again. One more map for NaXin to take this match, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go the long haul. Introducing first, on the ropes, this guy is trying to fight for his life. On the top right of Eternal Empire, it is gonna be Bistork. And his opponent, on the bottom left instead, has shown the power of defense. You know, sometimes when you have a big shield, it becomes a sword instead, or you smack them down with the bash, and that is exactly what NaXin is doing. Here on the green color, it's NaXin. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, in Eternal Empire. Now, I have a very useless statistic for you guys in this best of 5 out of the 3 maps. Every map that has been Protoss themed has been won by the Protoss, which was Pillars of Gold. So if you go by that stat, it should be Bistork's game. But that shouldn't make sense at all. But hey, you know, lore friendly, Protoss home court. I will take it. But yeah, NaXin is doing the same thing. He has a supply depot, he has the barracks set on up, and Bistork this time goes for an Nexus first before the core. And I like this. I really like this from Bistork. He's learning from what he has seen. He's learning basically that his opponent does not want to even bother going for attack before everything is set and ready. And this might be NaXin looking to prove to us that he is not just gonna be one-trick pony in a way. In this instance, he's going for the scout, and if he's able to punish Bistork well here, this might be, you know, this might be just NaXin's game to win. But in all honesty, from the flow of the match itself, I like how Bistork is playing this out. He wants to focus on the economy before anything else. He wants to make sure that he's gonna have some defense. And there we go, NaXin already seeing the earlier second. He hasn't even started on his SCV as of yet. And he hasn't started on the command center as of yet. And the SCV should be getting to work into that one. So overall though, it's gonna be the high ground right now. Going for the command center rather. There's the SCV. I was looking here. Apparently it's on the high ground. Which is pretty interesting because in a situation like this, especially when you scout at that Nexus already, you should be feeling pretty secure to set up that command center there on the low ground instead. But it really is just the pace of the game, because earlier on Bistork was always looking to harass that natural as much as possible, and here on Eternal Empire there is that very close pathway to the natural itself. So understandable while NaXin would do that. Oh my god, NaXin, he has decided to whip things up and change up the status quo. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are on map 4, and we are finally gonna get a proxy, but this time it's from the Terran. Starport to set up potentially a Liberator, maybe even a Banshee to surprise the opposition. But this is what I want to see from Bistork. He decides to go for the 2 base into the Oracle instead. The question is, will he go for Phoenix play, or will he stick on to add more Oracles into this one? When you have 2 or 3 of them, everything just gets cooked up. It doesn't matter if there are like anti-air units, because with proper micro, you can just get so many worker kills as quick as can be. But on the other side though, it feels like NaXin is kind of playing it standard. His second base is going to be a lot later than his opponent, so by around 2 minutes. And at least he has the Orbital Command set up. That mule difference will make a little bit more, but still Bistork is up ahead on that worker count. For Bistork though, playing defensively, he sets up those twin gateways to get in the way part of a wall. Medevac is already built, Liberator gonna be there as well, and what is the plan? It's drop play, courtesy of our Terran. Now, will Bistork see this coming? Yes, he does. Already sees the starport. Needs to make sure, though, that he can defend. And he does go for the warp gate just in time. But this Oracle might be forced to go for the defense there. Probes now getting cooked on up. Here comes the Oracle, ready with the Pulsar Beam, looking for the Vaporization. But unfortunately for Bistork, it has no anti-air capabilities. And it is just going down to the east side instead. There we go right now with the Pulsar Beam. There it comes. Another load on in. But the Medevac trying to get the hell out of there. And for Bistork, he really has to chase this Medevac as much as possible. There we go with the pull. So NaXin looking to punish that earlier base. I like how NaXin played things out. Unfortunately, he's going to get caught already by the Phoenix, warped in by Bistork instead. And this is what I'm talking about. Will we get Phoenix afterwards? It already has 2 Oracles at the same time. And the Medevac knows there is no escape. There is no way to get the hell out of there. And Bistork going to be allowing this to survive for some reason. In the end though, 5 probes did go down after the Liberator comes on in as well. So NaXin able to take the lead, and I like the play here from the Terran. He has an answer even though he kind of got read like a book there. And apparently, you know, that single page is a full different chapter, and NaXin is a player that has more than 1 trick under his belt. Even as a barracks for proxy, this guy does not want to stop whatsoever. He's going to be unrelenting. He's going to be looking to make sure that he has Bistork on the ropes. But in the meantime, these Oracles as well as this Phoenix might be a good way to potentially pick off a few targets or 2. The Oracles right now are going to be very good against these Marines, going for the cook-off. Unfortunately though, the Phoenix going to get caught by the Cyclone there. Here comes the Pulsar Beams on the 1, and it is going to be the lock-on in the first place. Dev's going to be thrown into the mix. SCVs right now going for the repair at the same time. The Marines in behind, trying to reinforce. Zealots pushing on forward, gets rid of the Cyclone there. And one-way trick perhaps for this Warrior. Never mind, because it's going to be Brawl again. SCV now going down. Stalker's going to be in behind of the Zedevs. But sneaky peeky, decided to go for the transfer instead. But I feel like from the start, he wanted to go for the cancel there. Extra DPS on NaXin's side instead. And in the end, Bistork gonna get fended off in this instance. It's a little bit of hesitation there from our Hong Kong player. It felt like he didn't want to go for the silent transfer. He just wanted to bait his opponent out. Unfortunately, didn't get the cancel in time, and you can see they were desperate to get back to those Marines, where the siege tank was just shooting them in behind instant. And now Bistork gonna get caught again. NaXin right now looking for the punish, and we are gonna be in that same scenario. Can NaXin finish things up? It's not as scary though. It's only 28 of that army, and oh NaXin, I see the problem. I see where it has gone wrong. I think these SCVs are trying to get to that Viking. Is that gonna be the case? I think this is what happened last time, but in this instance, it might make a difference here. And there you go, that is going to be the repair onto the Viking. NaXin forgetting to migrate that one, and now these SCVs are here, and he's going to be behind on the economy because what the hell are the workers even doing? But hey, since these workers are here anyway, put up that bunker. Let's just say that is all part of the plan, and it's even going to be a second bunker into the face of adversity. NaXin is really pushing the lines here. SCVs right now trying to repair each other at the same time. Bistork though holding the line with a battery overcharge. And here on Eternal Empire, those angles taken by the siege tanks are pretty good, but the Immortal dropped in just to get that takedown there. Graviton Beam is available, gets the lift onto the tap. Adept's gonna be in behind right now, trying to get the DPS on. And for Bistork, all he needs to do is make sure that these Marines aren't able to get to those bunkers. But as I say that, it's time for the 7-minute bunker rush, even though that's not really a thing. Apparently, it is now in the Taiwanese scene. Bistork gonna be backing on out. Instead, Immortal being warped in from the rover facility. But basically, NaXin has taken map control there. Now, I really don't think this is all part of the plan, but I will just say that NaXin is an amazing player, and he has just outwitted Bistork in this instance. 4 bunkers now into play. Here we go with the drop, though, in behind. The medevac trying to get the load in again. And well, it's after chaos coming into this one. These bunkers in the front line, and they are just doing all they can and more. The Marines don't care though about protection. They're just going for the brawl against the Immortal. 12 army versus 40. And since NaXin brought along everything he had, this has to be a make or break moment for our Terran. Bistork cannot call it quits right here, right now. As of yet, there is still a chance, especially since he is down by 1, and NaXin is on match point. But now it's time for the engineering bay. This is just BM by this point. NaXin is creeping on in. This is not cannons. This is not mine crawlers. These are bunkers with no units whatsoever. And well played to NaXin. Just stopping Bistork again. But here comes the stalkers right now, looking to make sure that this is going to be a potential punish. Who puts an engineering bay on the natural of the front? Apparently NaXin does. Siege tanks, so he's going to get dropped in again into the fray, trying to make sure everything is going to be fine and dandy here. And well, the shots keeping on coming. Unrelenting. Our Terran player is. This second base is just getting torn apart at the seams. More Marines and medevacs being built. And GG is called. NaXin will be our other representative qualifying for the main event for the Taiwan-Hong Kong region. That was a game. That was a game that I enjoyed. And NaXin, I really feel, in all honesty, that was not part of the plan, because it was really chasing after that Viking, but he realized that it was there. He realized that, hey, I can do something with this. I have the better army. I have more units overall. And the SCP is just buying time there. Now, in all honesty, if that didn't work, that would have been GG. But an 8-minute cheese, we can call it there. We can call it there. And that is going to be victory rare for NaXin. He is going to be our representative from the second qualifier, joining Expect, who won out 3-0. So we get 2 Terran representatives this time. Last time it was 2 Zergs from Qualifier 1. This time it's gonna be 2 Terrans. So yeah, we are getting more and more of these players, more and more of these races. And what a match. What a match. And what a last game. That's all I gotta say. What a last game that was. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We already have Protosses, if I remember correctly, because Has and Nice were invited directly. So yeah, we got 2 Zergs, and now we have 2 Terrans coming in from the qualifiers. NaXin taking a 3-1 victory against Bistork, but I really feel like Bistork should be one of those favorites coming into that 3rd qualifier if he chooses to. Expect is the other victor on the other side, beating down Onsen 3-0 in that Terran versus Zerg. But all I gotta say about NaXin, he has made me a believer. He has made me a fan. And even though I don't know too much about that, I don't know too much about the Taiwanese scene, but he just decided to bring it over. Now, that engineering bay kinda unnecessary. Like the bunkers could have been something. I really thought he was gonna load that in. but he just made do with the mistake he made. I don't think that SCV push was PM. I think he just made a mistake, but he worked with it, and then he realized I don't need the bunkers, and then he was just having fun from there. So NaXin taking a pretty good victory, winning it out 3 times out of 4, and apparently my useless stat was a curse rather than a help to Bistork. But there you go, guys. We are done with our second qualifier for the Taiwan-Hong Kong region. It has been absolutely great to bring you guys the action. And hey, we followed Bistork, but unfortunately he falls flat. Will we get a good run next time? That's gonna be a real question. I really am rooting for the guy since I started on him twice already. He's not biased, it's just like, oh, because I did this guy from the first get-go in the qualifying 1. Can he do it here in qualifying 2? Not yet, but maybe in qualifying 3. So that's my storyline there, guys. But we have so many great players still waiting on from the Japanese region. Someone I do have an eye on is really Kuma, aka Mystery Man, because he just got caught out there. You know, Psyark also someone I'm really looking forward to. Maybe I want to know, as well as Yogur, kind of the players I'm gonna be keeping an eye out as well. But in all honesty, it's a very new region for me, and hey, it has been a great game so far. 2 Terran, 2 Zerg, 2 Protosses, but we will lose that balance very soon as we get into qualifier number 3. Thank you guys for tuning on in. Thank you guys for all the support, especially to our Taiwanese, Chinese-speaking audience who from everywhere and anywhere. I really appreciate you guys tuning on in, and it was a great time to see how that worked, with NaXin even showing up in the chat. The engineering bay. I cannot forget that engineering bay. Okay, and he has proven that, you know, the best defenders can turn into amazing attackers in different situations. And hey, I may be wrong, I may be right, but from what I see, it was just getting the best out of the situation, and it worked wonders for some reason. So yeah, guys, it is time to call it quits. It is time to call it a night. It has been an amazing time here now to bring you guys the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Summer Qualifier. Is there anyone we can actually I can actually toss you guys over to just to support their stream? Are there any other events going on? Oh, maybe you guys are gonna be interested actually into the Wardy side, or because of course there is the another tournament going on right now, which is, well, if you're a StarCraft fan, you're gonna enjoy that. So after the stream, I'm gonna be hosting Wardy to toss you guys over there, and see you guys very soon on Saturday. That is gonna be 7 p.m. I've been Daks. Thank you guys for tuning on in. If you want to support the stream, hit that follow, hit that sub, that kind of thing. I cast a number of games, not only StarCraft 2, but also a bunch of FPS games there and then. So you're going to get a lot of different content from me if you do check out my channel from time to time. But anyway, it's time to call it quits. And thank you guys for tuning on in. This has been the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Master Summer Qualifier for Taiwan, Hong Kong, Mongolia, Japan scene. And this has been the second bout of it. We'll see you guys on Saturday for our third and final one.